Hello. Welcome everyone. Meowdy. It's your boy, your favorite fat cat. We're back. We're back with a video. I've tried to record this a dozen times now. Hasn't exactly gone to plan, but we're here. I haven't posted in a while, but I've had to get some data for this video. It's taken a while. I've done private track races and recorded stuff to put in the statistics. So here we are. We're here with the video. We're here with track balancing today. So I suppose I should start by posing a question. And that is, do you think that the tracks in Disney Speedstorm are balanced? And what I mean by that is, I don't mean in terms of top speed or handling. Like some tracks are for top speed, some tracks are for handling characters. You're going to have this variation. But I don't mean in terms of that. I mean in terms of track length and also in terms of item boxes. So as we all know, there are some tracks in the game, especially in this season, that have been released. And let's just say they are interesting. There's two in particular that I can think of in this season that are either very short or very long. And tell me what you think about it. Actually, you should let me know whether you enjoy these short tracks or long tracks, because from my experience, I think that these tracks need to be closer together. There's obviously going to be some variation in terms of length, but I feel like having too much variation, either the track being too long or too short, changes. It changes a lot in terms of balancing, but also just in terms of enjoyment. So I think it should be balanced because of a few different points. The first point I want to talk about is the important one, the character balancing. There are characters in this game that thrive later in the track. So basically, if you have Randall or Beast or Ariel or maybe even Figment or Lilo, what's his name? He got added this. Felix. He got added this season. Felix. They've added a new character that fits into this category this season, and he essentially works like Randall. And it's unfortunate because these characters benefit from getting their skill multiple times. Even other characters like Mike, for instance. Mike isn't a very good character without his ability. He thrives on getting his doors over and over and over. So when you're playing these characters, you want to get as many item boxes as you possibly can. And when you're not getting that, it's like you're at a massive disadvantage. So when you're playing a track that only has 2 laps, like the new one that got added, it's like, well, how am I supposed to win? How am I supposed to win? If I'm playing Beast and I need to get my ability 3 times, if there's not enough boxes on the track, if the track isn't going long enough, how am I supposed to get my ability? How is that fair? Because other characters, they can just get 1 item box, get their ability, and they get the full benefit out of it. But characters like the ones I just mentioned, it takes time. So it's really unfair for them. And I think if we had more balanced tracks, it'd be fair across the board. This wouldn't be such an issue. Another small issue is in terms of like gameplay time. If you play any other game, like any other game, Warzone, what else? What do people play? League of Legends is one big contender. You play League of Legends. How long do you play it for? You play it for about, like one match in League of Legends is about 30 minutes. At 30 minutes minimum. Maybe even like an hour sometimes. Even Warzone could probably be like 20 minutes, maybe even 30. I don't know. I don't play it anymore. But Call of Duty multiplayer matches, they usually last about 10 minutes. So you've got these games. You're in a lobby for a minute, 2 minutes, right? And then you're in the match for triple the length, quadruple the length. You're in the match for so long. But compare that to this game, Disney Speedstorm, you're searching for 1 minute, you're searching for 2 minutes. Sometimes if you're in Grand Champ or above, you're searching for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Sometimes you don't even find anybody. You're searching for 10 minutes, and then you find someone, and then you do a 50-second race. And I think that sucks. That really, really sucks. I don't know why that's a thing. Why is that a thing? Why is it not worth my time to so that's another issue. It's like, I feel like if I could have my way, I would make it so that every track was like 3 minutes, roughly, at least hit a certain mark, maybe like 2 minutes 30 or something. If every track hit at least 2 minutes 30, then I'd be happy. Although, of course, there is some variation in terms of levels. If you're low level, it's going to be 4 minutes. If you're high level, it's going to be, even less. So it's hard to balance that out. But another issue is that in these higher lobbies, if you get stunned once, you're pretty much dead. You're done. If you're neck and neck with somebody and they stun you, you're not catching up in a 50-second race. I'm sorry. It's just very, very rare. You've essentially lost the race. And there's very little margin for error. The faster you go and the shorter distance you have to go, there's less margin for error. So if you make one small mistake, if you hit a wall, if you get hit, it's basically game over. And I suppose it makes it makes sense. The stakes are high, the higher up you go, but it doesn't need to be like that. It could still be fast paced and competitive, but still a relatively long race and still give you a chance to catch up. But you can't get that with these short tracks. So they're the reasons why I feel as though these short tracks should really be extended. And it's not like it's not like there's no solution. I feel like the solution is really, really simple. All they need to do is increase the laps for the majority of these tracks. It's not like I'm saying, hey, I want you to rework the whole track. I want you to cut off a section and, add a tree here and there. No. I could talk about that though. There is another part of this video that I wanted to make in terms of like balance. There is another aspect to this balancing I would want to talk about eventually in the future in terms of whether or not you should go down the left path or the right path, because there's obviously tracks where you can go left or right. One of them is faster, but the other side usually provides something else like an item or a boost to catch up. It's either there's usually an incentive to go the other way, but there's some tracks where there's no incentive, or there is an incentive, but it's not a good incentive. Like for instance, on Toon Village, where if you take the grind rail, that's the fastest path. You don't get any items, but if you don't take the grind rail, you can take the road up the hill. You'll get 1 or 2 items, but it's just not worth it because you don't catch up. It's just so slow. You need like a dozen boosts along that road. They literally need to rework that like whole other section. That's a video for another time. Like maybe we could do a map rework video or something. But so what I've done, let's get to some statistics just to really show you what I'm talking about. And hopefully we can have a discussion. Hopefully you can leave feedback to me or even to the devs. We can have a discussion. We can talk about it. Get your opinions and just see what everybody thinks, because I feel as though I personally would really love this change. I don't know if anyone else would. This is just how I feel. A few other people actually that I've mentioned, have mentioned to me that they do like longer tracks as well. They actually think that the new longest track that they've added into the game is actually quite good. And if I had to give my opinion on it, I would say I do enjoy it as well. At the higher level, it's quite decent. We'll get to that later though. But yeah, so I'd love to just have a discussion, and hopefully the devs see this and they can make some changes, because I do feel like it needs to happen eventually. Here are the stats. Hopefully you can see them on screen. So what I've done, so what you're looking at is basically Donald level 15. I've gone into every single track and raced and recorded the time. And you can see here, this is 2 laps, 3 laps, 6 laps, because the majority of the tracks here, well, actually every single track in the game either has 2, 3, or 6. No one has 1, no one has 4, 5, 7, basically. It's 2, 3, or 6. So I've put all the times down. I've played a level 15 Donald. I've also recorded the amount of items per lap and the amount total over all of the laps. So keep in mind, these numbers are going to be different for you. If you go a different direction to me, like not the correct path, maybe a different path, maybe you hit a wall, maybe you get stunned. These times don't include getting stunned. So these are really fast times for a level 15 Donald. So you're probably looking at around 2 minutes for most of these. We'll get to this later, but they're obviously going to be different. But keep in mind, I want you to keep in mind throughout the entire video, if you think these numbers, these 1 minute 47s, if you think any of these numbers here are really short, if you think this is short for a track, like if you think this is not enough time to be in the match, just consider what it's like for a level 50 with maxed out crew. Because this is pretty much on the low end. This is the lowest I could have done. You can obviously have a lower than this, level 1, but this is the lowest I could physically do. So you're most likely going to get faster times than this. And of course, this is the max amount of items you can get on the track. If you go for every single item, like Mike, who needs them basically, or Randall, this is like the most you can get pretty much. So we'll go down. You can have a look at all of these numbers if you want. And we're going to talk about a few different things as we go down. These grayed out ones, these ones aren't actually in ranked or regulated. So this is a small side issue where the devs haven't actually added these tracks into ranked or regulated. And I don't know why. I don't know why they're not in the game. They should be in the game. I feel like they're being completely wasted just being in events or a season tour. So they may as well just add them. I would love to see them in the game. They would have to be a little bit, they would have to be adjusted slightly because they're kind of on the low end in terms of item boxes, which you'll see. But because they're not in ranked or regulated, we're not going to add them to the calculations for the next page that you're going to see. So we can keep going down, 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 down. We get to Arby's Arena. They've completely removed Arby's Arena because we kept protesting and going, please remove Arby's Arena, which they did, which is good. Because honestly, for me personally, Arby's Arena sucks. It's like Baby Park from Mario Kart. It's so boring. That's why I wanted it gone. And I would assume that's why a lot of other people wanted it gone. And they actually got rid of it. So it's interesting that they're actually releasing more short tracks. Like, if these didn't go well, why are they releasing more that are short? I don't know. I don't get it. And as for this one here, I wasn't able to remember how many how many laps it was. So I don't exactly know how many items there were. But it doesn't matter because none of these are in ranked or regulated. They're not in our calculations. One thing I do want to point out as we go down this list is here in Arendelle. So what you'll see is there's 3 laps. So basically what they've done in Arendelle, someone has decided, hey, these tracks are really short for 2 laps. Because if you look at this, a 1 minute 59, if that's 2 laps, that's almost like a 1 minute 30, less even. So someone's actually decided, hey, we're going to make these 3 laps. So someone's actually made the good decision in increasing the lap count for these and boosted these. So basically you get 4 per lap, you get 12 overall. And you'll see later on that 14 is the average. So if this wasn't 3 laps, it would just be another short lap. It would just be another short one, basically. It wouldn't be balanced. So they've done the right decision here, but then you go down and it's like, okay, why didn't they do the same for Gummies Raceway? Why didn't they do the same for Landlubbers Rally? You know? So I'm not sure why they're pushing this 2-lap standard. I don't understand it. I don't understand it personally. I think it's weird. But as you can see here, the average is 1 minute 47. And, down here you've got 6.9 and 14.1. So on average, a track with level 15 Donald lasts 1 minute 47. Make that about 2 minutes in your mind, probably for the average person, but also lower it for anyone that's probably above 15. Like if you're 50, that's obviously going to be way less, way less. So count how long you're in a lobby for. And if it's longer than this number, you're literally in the lobby longer than you're playing the game. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It is a racing game. I don't have Mario Kart statistics to compare, but I do know in Mario Kart, there's obviously tracks that are there's tracks that are super long and they've got 1 lap, and there's tracks that are super short that have like 6 laps. So there is variation in Mario Kart, but they've completely removed the variation in this game for some reason, and they've just gone 2-2-2 everywhere for some reason. So these are the numbers, and the real juicy information is on sheet 2. So let's get to that right now. This is what you're all here for. These are all the tracks arranged from longest to shortest and color coded. So if we go down to this red line, this red line represents the average. The average was 147. So anything above the red line is in the clear. All of these tracks are in the clear. They're actually relatively good and balanced, and you're in there for a decent amount of time. The amount of item boxes you get is fantastic for the majority of them. There's a few here and there that could get a few extra item boxes, but they're usually really good. There's a few here and there, 12, 11. Frosting Heights might need an extra one here or there. The first one we want to talk about, though, is Sweet Delight Speedway, which, of course, is the longest track in the game they've added. Now, there's two solutions, I think, for this. For me, personally, I really enjoy this track. I think at level 50, this track is perfectly balanced, although I do understand the frustration of people who are level 15 or 10 or lower, and they're obviously getting stunned a lot as well, because you've got to consider that. So 2 laps, the longest track in the game, you're probably going for about 4 minutes, honestly. So 4 minutes is quite long, but I do think that if all the tracks were really long, it would feel better when you level up, because it would feel like you're progressing through these levels quicker. These tracks quicker. That's just my view on it. If this was, obviously this is the way it is, but when you get to level 50, you think, hey, I'm speeding through this track. I feel good. I feel great. I feel like my time and effort of leveling up this character is well invested, because now I'm just blazing through this track. That's the feeling I get with this track, but I don't usually get it with everything else, because everything else is just relatively short. But this one is like, hey, I can complete this really quick. It feels good, And I feel like they could do that for all of them. I don't know, though. It's an interesting one. So let me know your thoughts on it. What do you think about it? Because here, what I've done, these are the solutions to a degree. If they were to change Sweet Delight Speedway to 1 lap, it would actually be balanced. It would be a 151. The only issue with that, though, is this would drop by half. So you'd only be getting 10 item boxes, which is lower than the average of 14. So they'd have to actually add a few more item boxes. Basically, they could make this a 1 lap race if they wanted to balance everything, which I think they should. I think balancing everything should be the first thing that they do before they decide, hey, let's just bump up all the times, Let's just make all the tracks longer. As much as I would love for them to just increase the time for all of these, I think it's just better to balance them. So having this at a 1 lap is probably the best idea, and bump up the boxes or something. Let me know what you think of that one. But here we get to the real culprits of today's topic. So we've got the first 3 that I want to talk about: Time for Tea, the Magic Lamp Circuit, and Tunnel Chase. These ones are actually, they're below the average, but they're quite decently lengthy. The only issue with them is you don't get many item boxes. You get 10, 10, 8. Time for Tea, I was shocked. I mean, I wasn't really shocked, but because I knew that there was one Beauty and the Beast track that didn't give many items. I just could not work out which one it was. And then I did it, I tested it, and I was like, wow, I cannot believe that you only get 4 items per lap on this race. But it's not, it's actually worse than that. So these items on the Beauty and the Beast track, they're in hard to reach sections. So if you're going around a corner, you essentially have to go super, super wide just to get 2 of these item boxes. So in a race, you're pretty much only going to get 2 per lap. So that's like 4 items per lap. So if you're playing Beast, good luck. If you're playing Beast on his own lap, on his own track, good luck. It's so, I was shocked it was this low. They really, the devs really need to add more items to this track. And it's interesting too, because if you compare to other Beauty and the Beast tracks, there's other locations they could put the boxes, but they just haven't put them there. So It's weird. It's really weird. And it's the same with a lot of things. There's so many different tracks where you play it and it's like, okay, why is there no item box here? Like all of these low ones that are slightly dipping into the low section, you're playing the track and honestly, you're going around. I'm going around and I'm feeling like, okay, shouldn't there be an item box coming up right about now? And then you go around the corner and there's nothing there. It's so, it feels bad. It actually feels bad when you compare it to something like this. I play this one and I'm like, hey, there's an item box. Hey, there's another one. There's another one. There's another one. And I personally feel as though that's a good thing. I think more is better when it comes to boxes. For me personally, yes, it's more chaotic, but I feel like I would rather have more chances to catch up and stun people than less chances. Obviously compared to more time. More time is probably not so much what you want, but I think honestly, if this was above 25, if this was any higher than 25, maybe then it's an issue, but just give me all the item boxes. Honestly, all of these is just like, just smack on, just give me, just slap, place them. I don't know where to place them. Just give me a bunch of item boxes. That's what I would love for them to do, but they're not the issues. These ones in red are the real culprits that really should be adjusted. Because they're really bad. These ones are really, really bad. But there's actually worse ones than this. And that is, of course, these ones here. These are... Can I go lower? Oh. Ooh. Come on. Anyway, you see what I mean. You can just see it there at the bottom. So basically, these are the worst ones. These are the worst culprits. So Hera's Circuit all the way to Gummy's Raceway are incredibly short. You can see here that there's a 127 and it literally dips to a 119. And these tracks are so short. When you play them with a level 50 character, it's so short. You're like, wait, the race is over? If you get stunned in one of these races, you're done. You're not catching up. You're not catching up to anyone. One hit and you're out. And it's so shocking that they would just leave these the way they are. But they decided, hey, let's make it so Arendelle has 3 laps. And that's all they got to do. That's the solution that they need to do. If you give 3 laps to all of these tracks right here, you can see 158 to 148. They're all above the average. They will all make the average. And for the most part, they all have a relatively good item box count, except for this one here with 11 and 12 and 12, of course. But you're going to have a few that dip under. It's not as bad as these. So they only need to make these, like, look at this, 8, 7. You get 7 on Landlubber's Rally. Landlubber's Rally is a really weird one because an item box literally spawns behind you. It spawns behind you, but it's in front of the finish line. I don't know. It's a really weird situation where you end up with like half a box per lap. It's really weird. There's only 7 in it total. It's from last season. It's one of the shortest maps in the game, and I can't believe they didn't make it 3 laps. I can't believe it's not 4 laps. I can't believe it's not, like, you could make these 3, 4, 5, and they'd be fantastic. But they didn't. So you've got these ones down here, though, that need to be more than 3 laps, because if these are 3 laps, then you're going to get less than the average. And, they could do that. That is fine. You do have numbers here that are less than the average. But I feel like if we strive to put them above the average, that's probably the best case scenario. Not to mention, you'd probably be reducing, I suppose, actually, look, 20, 24, 20, 20. Yeah, you could probably go 1 less. But I feel like more is better. I feel like 2-minute times, if you can have a 2-minute race, I think that's fantastic. 4 laps, 5 laps. I think this is what they need to do. This is pretty much all the statistics, by the way. There's nothing else here. If you want to screenshot these or anything, you definitely can. That's pretty much the whole conversation. It's just baffling to me. I feel like these tracks need more laps. Gummy's Raceway, Lava Loop, Hermes Circuit, Jungle Raceway, they're all so incredibly short. What do you guys think? Please let me know. Obviously, these ones aren't in the rotation. I would love if these two got added into ranked and regulated. Please add them and then balance them. But please add them. I would love to see them. I would love to see Arby's Arena come back in, but I would also love to see them rework the track. Maybe extend it, because, you know, it looks like it's under construction. There's actually a track that's called Under Construction. It'd be nice if you actually like extended it, but maybe that could be a video for another time. But that's pretty much it, everyone. That's the statistics I've been gathering for the past week, and we've done it. And you can see the difference. You can see how much shorter these are and how much shorter they would be with a level 50 character. So keep that in mind. And just let me know your thoughts. What do you think of these tracks? If you're a veteran and you play this game on and off all the time, and you get these tracks, what do you think? What do you feel? How do you feel playing these tracks? Do you think they should have 3 laps? Or maybe not. Maybe you like short tracks for some reason, you know? I don't know. But I feel like, look, a minute 48 is still incredibly short. Like, if you had to choose between a race between 110 and 150, there's basically no difference in comparison to any other game. In comparison to a Call of Duty game, 50 seconds is nothing. That's barely any time wasted in your life, I feel. That's just my thoughts. Please let me know your thoughts and comments. Ciao, ciao, meow, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. We'll hopefully get another video out sooner than this one, because there'll be less editing and less data gathering. But thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for the patience. Let me know. See yous all. Thank you so much. See yous.